Well, hi guys, it's that time. No, it's not that time. It's not our Bible teaching snippet. What I want to do today is introduce you to a really close friend of mine. I just think this girl is so cool. She makes me feel about 10 years younger just hanging out with her. And so my good friend, Tonya Lee, is from Texas. And she drove all the way to Tennessee. What was that, 10 hours?
Yes.
Something like that. But don't worry, she did practice the distancing. You stayed 6 feet away from every car.
Every car.
Every car. But she's here, and we're just hanging out, and we love talking about some Jesus. We love talking about Jesus. And so what I want to do is let her talk about her testimony, talk to you a little bit about what inspired her to go plant-based diet, or what sometimes we call vegan. It's just easier to say. So I'm going to turn this over to my good friend, Tonya. Ready?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Hey everyone. I began a plant-based diet because of the influence of Miss Faye. I began watching
She don't call me Miss Faye.
I don't.
Yeah, she
No.
don't call me that.
I began watching her snippets about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and asking questions because it was reversing some of my twisted thinking. And she had a lot of knots to untie, and
it really wasn't about food back
no,
then.
it was definitely it was about Jesus.
Teaching errors
Yes.
that we believe about God and about
absolutely.
Jesus. Yeah.
I thought she was wacko right at first, and I almost accused her of that. I was almost mean, but I just said the Word of God is God's breath, and she said, okay, just keep digging. Well, I did keep digging, and what I found was I had really had been entrenched in error. And so through that untying of some of those knots and getting me free of religious...
The truth will set you free.
Yes,
right.
it will.
Okay.
Yeah, if you dig for it. If you dig for it, not your pastor, not the people you've learned the error from, but if you dig for it, he will open your eyes. So that's what began to happen for me. I began seeing truth, and I began being free in some of the religion that I was tied up in. And through that, it developed a trust and a friendship. So she had been sending me articles on vegetarian, because she was vegetarian at that time, articles about pigs, and I would write back, I don't want to see this because I love bacon, so I don't need you messing with my bacon habits. And then she'd send me something else, and I would again be resistant and tell her, I'm not interested in seeing what you have to show me about cows, because I love beef. It's my favorite protein. It
right?
is. Yes, Texas. We do steak right in Texas.
Right.
And barbecue. I mean, I know Tennessee got some good barbecue, but so do Texas. And so I didn't want her messing up any of those things for me. And so my selfishness and my love of meat.
She's like, no.
I was resistant. Right. But she had asked me to watch Forks Over Knives. And so during football season in January, we were in the 2 games for the weekend season, and I was bored. And so I told my husband, well, let's just watch Forks Over Knives. I just thought it would be, try and eat more plants and less meat. And so it didn't seem like it was not going to invade in my personal lifestyle. And so I watched it. After watching that, I knew immediately that I needed to change some things in my life. It answered a lot of questions for me. I'd had a bone scan done 3 years earlier, and I'd done keto for 3 months. And I had a bone scan, and my bones were 78 years old. And in that documentary, it talked about rotting flesh going through that long intestinal tract. The only way that your body can offset those toxins is by pulling calcium from your bones. So I'm the fittest I'd ever been. I'm the strongest I'd ever been, and my bones are the weakest that I'd ever, to my knowledge, that they had ever been. So my doctor tells me the way to fix my weak bones and my older bones is to work out and to lift weights. And I explained to him I could deadlift 375 and I could back squat 285. I don't know a lot of men that can do that kind of weight. He was as surprised by the amount of weight that I could lift as he was by my bone scan results. After seeing that, I began to see that I had weak bones because my entire life I've always been a workout person. I love the physical exertion. I love working out. I was CrossFitting. Had a personal trainer. I was trying to be as strong as I could be. And he couldn't figure it out. After watching that, I understood that the meat was taking from my bones. And every time I'd work out since I was 15, I'd always replaced what I'd taken away with meat. So within 30 minutes of working out, I would eat meat. Every morning I would wake up and eat eggs and brisket or eggs and bacon. Sometimes I would have protein-based drinks. Most of the time they were JJ Virgin. She has a grass-fed, because if you do grass-fed, that's better. So I was doing a grass-fed protein drink after workouts. I would eat steak, sweet potato, and a salad for lunch. For dinner, we would have a chicken salad or chicken and rice or something like that. So that was typically what I would eat. I ate a lot of vegetables, broccoli and cauliflower, asparagus, salads, but I always had 6 to 8 ounces of meat, always.
Yeah.
So
more than once a day.
Absolutely.
You were eating
3 to 4 times a
So
day.
no wonder you were so resistant to anything I had to say about diet. I mean, oh my goodness. It's like going, okay, she can invade my knots of religion, but that's a no knot, don't even come near.
Yeah, that absolutely was, don't touch my plate.
Yeah,
I mean, you get a Helen Keller hand in on my plate and I'm going to whack you.
That's right.
That's what she was doing. She was reaching in for my beef to wipe it off my plate, and I was slapping at her for a year. She worked on me.
A lot of things you're not supposed to challenge.
Yeah.
A person's politics and what they believe about
absolutely.
that. Their religion and what they believe about God. You're not supposed to get up in that. And you sure can't get up in the middle of their plate.
No.
So that's why now I know why you were so resistant. I didn't know you had a love affair with meat.
Yeah, I did.
Like I had with cheese. But go ahead, girl.
I did.
Because I had my own problems.
Yeah, I see that one. And then the very next one that Netflix requested was What the Health. So I had seen on Facebook, some of my friends had posted, you've got to watch What the Health. And so I thought, What the Health? I will watch What the Health. So we watched that one next. That one that documentary sealed me up on being plant-based only. We had just went grocery shopping that morning, and we had bought stuff to make lasagna. And my husband had a deer full of elk that he had just killed in October. So we were going to have elk lasagna, and I was so happy until I watched What the Health. So What the Health, I'd pretty much gotten over my meat addiction when I'd watched some of the things, and I understood why I was sick. I understood that in Forks Over Knives, but nothing in that grossed me out where I couldn't look at animal meat or anything like that again. But in What the Health, there were some things in there that totally changed everything for me. My husband and I ride motorcycles, and we had ridden through North Carolina and Iowa, and the stench at times was so great that I did not think we could ride through it. Yeah. It was so long and so great. And the spewing, the spewing of feces in the air and the water sprinklers, we all saw them, but we don't do that in Texas that I'm aware of. And so I'm asking the people I'm riding with, my husband and another friend of ours, what is that? What is that smell? It was so awful. On a motorcycle, it'll take you off your bike. And so I've seen it with my own eyes. If I haven't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it. But what I saw in that documentary and what we're doing to our land in the United States, in North Carolina, in Iowa, in those places, it broke my heart. And I'm participating in that, and it broke my heart. One of God's first commandments for us as believers is to take care of the earth. And after I saw what we were doing to the earth, and we're drying up water beds that he's given us to take care of the animal demand, because we're selfish and we just don't realize what we're doing.
We don't realize it. We don't. I feel, I became a vegetarian at 56, and I'm like going, how blind could I have been for that long? And all it is tradition. It's tradition and culture and what we're raised from the cradle up, from the cradle to the grave. We're just mistaught so much, and we don't even think about questioning it. We just think, well, okay, that's how grandma did it, so we just keep doing what grandma did, and we don't even realize. I'm amazed at how many people are so sick and don't even realize why they're sick. We just don't really stop to think about what we put in our body is the root of sickness, really, most of the time. But you told me once about how you had been on the keto thing or something. Can you?
Yeah, so I got super sick about a year and a half ago, and I had yellow stool, and I'd just come back from Mexico, so the doctor treated me as if I'd had a parasite. Well, 6 weeks later, I still have the same issue. I go back and they do all this testing, and they think that I have celiac disease. I've never had an issue in my life with celiac or with gluten, but they didn't have answers. So she sends me to a specialist. By the time I get to the specialist, everything had gotten better. But I had done keto for 3 months. And at the end of that 3 months is when this hit me, and I got so sick. Wow. And so when I saw these documentaries, it all began to make sense to me what had happened. So Faye had done a hair DNA test, and I saw her post about it on Facebook, and I asked her what it was, and she explained it. So I sent our hair testing in last April, and I had one of the toxins that I had was acetone poisoning. And so I don't get my nails done. I don't go to nail shops. I'm not around acetone. And so I Google why I would have acetone poisoning. So part of keto, if you're in ketosis, Atkins, keto, any of those, if you're in ketosis, your body begins to produce acetone. I wasn't getting rid of it. So as I studied that out, part of the reason I was so sick is because I had so much acetone build up in my body that it was physically making me ill. Wow. That was all from meat. I was eating meat only for 3 months straight, and it made me super sick. And so now, after seeing those documentaries, it all makes sense to me why I was sick, why my bones are aging. So in one of those, in What the Health or in Forks Over Knives, it shows an illustration of what happens in the body. When the meat is going through the intestinal tract, it's literally rotting flesh going through your intestinal tract. And the only way the body can offset those toxins that are being poured out into the body, because your intestines are designed to take nutrients from whatever food is going through. Well, if it's dead, rotting flesh, there's no nutritional value in that. And so it takes calcium from your bones to offset that that reaction. That was huge to me.
That calcium is coming out of your bones.
Out of my bones.
To neutralize
yes.
the rotting flesh that's in there. It's neutralizing it.
And doctors had kept telling me, I'm not absorbing calcium. I'm not absorbing calcium. Okay. Well, the truth is, I ate so much meat, my body never had a chance. It was pulling from the bones to offset the amount of meat I was putting in my body.
And that's why you had old lady bones.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Young lady, old lady bones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in that documentary, well, actually, it may be in Game Changers, it talks about the gladiators and their bones being cut. It was in the other one. And their bones are stupid thick, like stupid thick. My bones are paper thin, their bones are stupid thick because they were vegan and vegetarian. Right. And so...
well, the gladiators mostly were basically captive or slaves, and that's what slaves got was vegetables and stuff.
Yes.
And they were,
And meat wasn't available on a daily basis, and especially not 3 times a day in ancient days for sure. No. But one of the other things before we get off of here is the plant-based eaters, their jaw can do this and this. A meat eater's jaws only go up and down. We're the only mammals that have jaws that do both, that willingly eat meat. Also, our intestines for a plant-based eater, any animal that or mammal
like
that eats plants, they have a long intestinal tract.
Right.
All meat eaters, like lions and tigers, have a very short intestinal tract. So
that dead flesh isn't in their body very long.
Correct.
Like it is in ours.
Yes, they get rid of it, and their stomachs are highly acidic to help them get rid of it quickly. And so there's 2 things in that. God designed us to have these jaws and our teeth even. If you look at teeth structure, we don't have the tearing flesh teeth. We have the square plant-based teeth.
Yeah.
So
to chew and grind.
Right. But if you put a cow out, a cow is never going to go eat another animal. That's not what's happening in the factories on the meat that you're eating.
Right.
They're chewing them up and putting them back in there.
That's been ground up.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, but that is. So, well, we're almost at 15 minutes, so we'll just wrap this up. I just wanted her to talk to you a little bit about what inspired her to go plant-based. And I didn't know that, you were like really in love with meat, like I was like in love with Parmesan cheese. But anyway, we're going to get off of here today, but I do want to let you know this before you hear any fake news about going vegan or plant-based. If you decide to go plant-based, I promise you one of the side effects is not your hair being purple. Okay, that is not true. See, my hair's not purple, but you are free to go purple if you want to, because it looks really good on some folks. And there's other colors too you can pick from. I want to talk about real quick before we get off here. We went to Israel together. We flew in from Houston with a group to Israel, and the folks that follow me on Facebook know that. But you were there with me, and it was such an easy intro for everybody that met you, because they're thinking, oh my goodness, she got purple hair. I can say anything to her and she's not going to be offended. And it didn't matter if it was a fellow tourist, an American, or if it was someone who lived there in Israel. It didn't matter. Everywhere we went, people felt so comfortable coming up and talking to you. And that made my trip enjoyable, just to be able to be a part of that. So guys, we're going to hop off here.
One thing, this is not real leather.
It's faux
animal friendly shirt.
So what we got? This is faux
purple,
and this is faux.
Oh, I got faux.
No dead animals on this girl. Okay, we love you, and I will see you here tomorrow. Bye bye.